Welcome to the F1 News Zone, the show where we round up the biggest stories in Formula 1 right now. There's a 4-week gap until the next race in the United States, but there's plenty of stories around the F1 paddock at the moment. This week we're covering the emotional F1 farewell for Daniel Ricciardo, whether Max Verstappen will leave the sport after recent controversies, as well as potential trouble on the horizon for the Madrid street circuit, the future home of the Spanish Grand Prix. We cover all that and a whole lot more on today's show. Let's dive in. Oh no, the Madrid Grand Prix seems to be under threat. Anyway, let's have a read about what is going on. As you can tell, guys, I'm not very optimistic about this race in general. I think they should keep it at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, but unfortunately, money talks. They want to bring it to the Madrid. They want to make a new street circuit, and it's going to be terrible probably. But according to this article, the event, unfortunately, tragically, devastatingly, might not happen. But let's have a look why. Full article on the F1 Chronicle as always, guys. The new in 2026 Formula 1 race on the streets of Madrid has failed so far to attract private investors. According to Soy Motor, officials at the Madrid Council admitted this week that the city's event organisation, IFEMA, will therefore make losses relating to the race's planning both this year and in 2025, because obviously they need to get the event kind of ready and everything, make the roads, Formula 1 worthy basically. It has been confirmed that there are no qualified partners capable of meeting the strict requirements, said Engrafia Hidalgo, the council's Spanish at council. The council's economy, innovation, and finance head. Sorry, guys. Speaking between different languages isn't easy, Earlier this year, Formula 1 announced a long-term contract with IFEMA, endangering the future of the current Spanish Grand Prix host Barcelona after 2026. Once IFEMA obtained the rights and the different management formulas had been analysed and assessed, it is true that we signed the management contract, and basically due to the number of additional clauses we put in, we have not found the company that initially wanted to transfer that risk, Hidalgo added. She insists, however, that the Madrid Grand Prix will ultimately have a significant economic impact on the city and be profitable, but not immediately. Famous last words right there, if I've ever heard them. The expected benefits of IFEMA's current activity in 24 and 25 will offset the negative results of Formula 1 in those 2 years, and then the remaining years will be profitable for IFEMA, Hidalgo added. And that's only if the event's a sellout though. Will it be a sellout? Well, we'll wait to see. Long way still to go. Relatively quick one there. You guys know my thoughts about this. I think it's farcical, really. They're talking about having that, that alternating venue thing, and both Barcelona and Imola in Italy being two of the ones rotating around, which I'm not totally against, but what I am against is having the Madrid Grand Prix. I've seen simulations of the track. I've seen the track map. It looks terrible. It just looks like every other street circuit in Formula 1, but it doesn't even have a really cool characteristic like Baku is really, really quick. Saudi Arabia, the barriers are right there throughout the entire thing. Singapore has the physical challenge. Monaco has the prestige. Madrid has nothing, as far as I can tell anyway. So, I'm not optimistic about the event. I hope they just keep it at Barcelona. Why not? It'd be a lot easier. Why would you create a purpose-built track in a city that's going to cause absolute chaos for the capital for those 4 days or whatever? Why don't you just keep it at Barcelona? Because Barcelona for the longest time was actually a really bad track to race at, but I feel like now, since we've moved away from testing there and we've also got rid of that stupid chicane at the end of the track, it's actually a good track for racing, a track where you can overtake as well. So keep it there. They're getting rid of Barcelona when it's finally becoming a good circuit. It's just Formula 1 in a nutshell. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Do you think the Madrid Grand Prix will happen? I hope not, but I think it probably will do. Formula 1 will step in and back it because it loves street circuits. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Alright, Verstappen retiring from Formula 1. There's been a lot of rumours about this. There's been a lot of things said about this. Verstappen right now is not having the best time at all, both on and off the track. Red Bull's pace is, it's been better recently, but it's still been miles off from McLaren. It is not the fastest car on the grid. If it was, Verstappen would be winning, simple as that. And he's not won since the Spanish Grand Prix back in, June, July? It's been a long time either way. And then off the track, obviously, there's the whole sweargate, if you will. I just coined that phrase now. I'm not sure if that's being used, but obviously him swearing in the press conference and the general kind of clamp down of the freedom of speech of these F1 drivers and what they can say. It's very much a worrying time, and Max Verstappen has more than hinted at him not really sticking around in Formula 1 for too long, but could this hasten his decision to leave? Let's read. Let's figure this out. Full article on the F1Chronicle.com as always, guys. So Max Verstappen really might follow through on his threat to quit Formula 1 prematurely, according to former Grand Prix winner Ralf Schumacher. The triple world champion was furious when his F-word penalty in Singapore got handed out last weekend, and subsequently almost completely refusing to speak to FIA-sanctioned press conferences and even threatening to retire early. However, the 26-year-old Dutchman, he's only 26, wow, has received the almost universal support since this incident happened. Maybe we should focus on other things than just a few words spoken in a split second, Ferrari team boss Fred Vasseur said. Former Mercedes F1 boss Norbert Haug told Sport 1, "I am astonished that Formula 1 has no more important issues than this storm in a teacup. With a beep, everything is done and then we can move on to the important thing." Danke schön, Norbert Haug, for some absolute sense there. It's just ridiculous what's happened to Verstappen. You guys know me, I criticise Verstappen when he deserves it, absolutely, but he does not deserve anything for this. Community service for swearing. Get out the door. Get out the door with that FIA. Red Bull F1 consultant Dr. Helmut Marko even thinks that Verstappen's post-penalty should even be applauded. Max stands by his values, said the 81-year-old Austrian to F1Insider.com. He can't just ignore it when he feels like he's being treated unfairly. So this could be also interpreted the other way around as a positive influence on young people. Always stand by your values. That could be a message. Yes, absolutely. Stand to your principles. Don't go bending to the man. Don't accept the oppression of the state or the FIA. As for Schumacher, he thinks that Verstappen's threat to accelerate the end of his Formula 1 career over the soft future direction of the sport might just be real. "I think he'll stop if things escalate," Ralph said, "because he is simply independent. He has already earned enough money and has definitely earned enough money, and has always said that he will not drive in Formula 1 forever, so I wouldn't rule it out." I mean, look at Sebastian Vettel, he retired quite early. He was what, 33, 34? He's only in his mid-30s now. Schumacher also thinks that the F-word penalty is just the latest in a series of negative experiences for Verstappen. Max has got a lot going on, he does. As the Christian Horner affair, the departure of Adrian Newey, the bouncing car, and then the World Championship slowly slipping away from him, of course, you then curse sometimes. Yeah, he's not in the best mental state at the moment. I've already done a video about that too, and it's absolutely understandable. It's not a criticism. It's just, he's a human being at the end of the day. A warning would have been strong enough, Schumacher added. The tragic role played by the FIA president Mohammed bin Sulayem is like our Olaf Scholz, a disaster in terms of communication. I think that's probably a reference that Germans get. I don't understand that one. First, he gets into trouble with Susie Wolff. Then a huge scandal with Liberty Media that almost cost him his job. Then he comments on. This is Ben Sulayem, by the way, and I've already done a video about him, how he should resign from his post at the FIA. So I'm not mincing my words on that either. Go check that out if you haven't already, of course. Then the comments he made at the official awards ceremony in Abu Dhabi. I would recommend that the FIA think about something new. Lewis Hamilton has even advised Verstappen to refuse to carry out the community service penalty. It's obviously a fight, Ralph said. Would I fight it? If I was Max's advisor, I would say that the problems on the technical side are big enough. He obviously feels unfairly treated and is being stubborn, but I don't think that Ben Sulayem is clever enough to reverse the whole thing. So I would make a virtue out of necessity and take on a passion project and maybe even help children or something. He needs to concentrate in the car and win the World Championship. A boycott like that would only distract. I suppose. I mean, I respectfully disagree with Schumacher on that last point. I'm with Lewis Hamilton on this. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. What are they gonna do? Like, seriously. And the thing is with Verstappen as well, I don't know this personally, but I have no doubt to doubt what he's saying. I have no reason to doubt what he's saying. But he says he goes and helps kids and stuff like that, does all these community things anyway, of his own free will and his own free time, just non-profit kind of things to help the FIA out, help them look good, help him look good, and also help some children out in the process. So I have no reason to kind of think that he needs to do this. When you get a penalty, I can say that on here. When you get a penalty like that, then there's no reason why you should do it, in my opinion. I'm with Hamilton on this, I'll be honest. You can't go bowing to the pressure because then you're accepting what they're saying, and what they're saying is a load of rubbish. So yeah, MBS with a load of that's basically what's going on here. And of course, if you want to see more comments from me on the kind of the state of Formula 1 right now, do keep subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com. Is Formula 1 too soft? Was it better and tougher, and by this phrase as well, harder Back in my day, well, Max Verstappen thinks that Formula One has gone too soft, and this all comes in the wake of his F-bomb that he dropped during a live drivers press conference, and also got hit with community service. Yes, my man has to go sweeping streets in Singapore for his offence. No, he doesn't actually have to do that, and I hope he doesn't actually have to do any kind of punishment, because it is a farcical situation that Formula One finds itself in. I mean, this all comes from MBS's the FIA president, Mohammed bin Sulayem, his ridiculous and ludicrous proposal to try and censor Formula One drivers, to try and get swearing out of the sport. A sport where drivers can get hurt and killed, but think about the kids. Well, you have Heineken 00, of course, and if you go even further back in the past, cigarette brands, of course. I mean, Formula One is not a moral sport, let's be honest here, guys. I mean, you can say the will to win and the engineering excellence and the drivers out there, they're all honourable, and absolutely, I agree with that, but is it honourable and family-friendly sport? Not in its entirety, unfortunately, and it never will be. It never will be, and nor should it be. Let's be honest. But let's have a look what's been said here. So, Max Verstappen on Sunday admitted the scandal surrounding his F-bomb penalty is only pushing him closer to the exit door in Formula One. He's also come out recently and said that his Formula One future is up in the air. This has just thrown it a couple yards even further up there. After almost completely refusing to speak in the FIA post-qualifying press conference in Singapore, the triple world champion kept his answers conspicuously abrupt and blunt in the post-race session as well. I do feel for Tom Clarkson actually doing the questions, and I have met Tom, the British Grand Prix, really nice guy. I did feel for him there, because you could tell he's like, I need a bit more from you, with the answers, but I think he also realises that it's quite a large Singaporean elephant in the room as well. I don't know why they're Singaporean, but it was in Singapore, so let's just say it was. Coming from the zoo. Great zoo in Singapore, I'm sure. Although I didn't go to that, but I have been there before. Instead, Verstappen would only talk extensively to journalists outside of the room. A policy is also repeated under the Singapore floodlights late on Sunday after his podium at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. I have no need to give extensive interviews and answers in the FAA if the FAA treats me like this, said the Red Bull driver, who was sentenced to a day of community service for swearing. What does it even mean, a day of community service? What's he going to have to do? What, is he going to have to hand out drinks at the prize giving ceremony or something? Like, is he going to have to be a pit crew member for a day? Like, what does that even mean? What's he going to have to do? There's no way he's going to get forced to do it. That is a farcical situation for a 3-time Formula One champion to have to do that. I know I have to answer, but there is no indication of how long my answers have to be. Very true. Like many, the 2016 world champion Nico Rosberg has admitted he found Verstappen's anti-FIA protest and press conference sabotage as very entertaining and funny. On the other hand, my daughters are watching, so I think it's good that we pay attention to the language, he told Sky Deutschland. But on the other hand, they're gladiators. We want them to show their emotions. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here. They should just put the beeps over it. Yeah, and they already do that during the radio broadcast. What's wrong with that? As for Max, if I were fighting for the World Championship, I don't know if I'd put so much energy into something like this. It's just a distraction. But for Verstappen, it's more than just mere distraction. The 26-year-old has admitted the swearing saga is even making the prospect of retirement seem more attractive. F1 will continue without me, but my life will also continue without F1, said the Dutchman to journalists after the FIA press conference on Sunday. It's strange because I've never had a bad relationship with the FIA. This year I even did volunteer work with young people. I always want to try and help. I never say no when they're asking for something. Then this? No, that's not how it works. But apparently it's the direction the sport is heading. The wrong direction. It's quite soft and super stupid, Verstappen said. I'd use a stronger word personally. Might as well do at this point. I can't be myself anymore. Well, then I'd better stop talking. But I don't think anyone wants that, because then drivers are robots, and that's not how it should be. What on earth is this fuss about? How about we please stop this? Verstappen admitted that he will be continuing the long break between Singapore and the US Grand Prix to completely turn away from F1. Do it, man. It's the best way. No Formula One for me for 2 weeks, then we'll see in Austin. But I will always remain myself and will not change my attitude and behaviour. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff, who is openly courting Verstappen for a potential 2026 team switch, was asked on Sunday if he thinks the FIA's attitude towards the Red Bull driver is unfair. I don't think anyone listens to the FIA press conference anyway, said the Austrian. Wow, fair play. I don't think it's even written about much. There's hardly anyone there except for all of us. We're all part of this Formula 1 circus. We all know each other, and I don't think using the F word in a press conference is that bad. If it really is that bad, we really all need to change our language, including the team bosses. You know what? I just got a point actually about the press conference. I used to actually pay attention to it years ago, but I must admit I've not watched it since. And I also have to admit the press, well, it depends on the event. Like, I've been to the British Grand Prix, but unless it's like the post-race or the post-qualifying press conferences for the top three, there's not really that many people there. Like, I remember they were kind of demoing the 2026 engine in 2023 at Silverstone. I didn't even go, but there was like 2 dudes who were in there. There were more people on stage than there were actually in the stands for the journalists. So yeah, I totally get what he means. I only pay attention to the press conference when something like this happens, when there's some sort of controversy, and that's after the fact. If they want to resolve the press conference problem, just don't broadcast it live. Does it need to be broadcast live? Could they not put it on a delay of 30 seconds to allow them to bleep swear words? That'd solve the problem. But no, they're trying to make a statement about Formula 1 being a family kind of business and sport, and they want all these sponsors to come in because it's all friendly and everything. I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole with this and rant for a very long time, but I'm not going to do that because I also don't want to ruin my relationship with potential future sponsors. So the last lap from Ricciardo in Formula 1, most likely the fastest lap in Singapore. Apparently it's caused a lot of stir in the paddock about, second teams, and is RB truly an independent enterprise from Red Bull? They're not, by the way. Of course they're not. They've got the same owners. But apparently some people have been saying that, this is not in the spirit of the sport. It's wrong. But Toto Wolff has come out and said that he's got no problem with Ricciardo's fastest lap. Although, why is Wolff commenting on this? Let's have a look. Let's have a look what's going on here, because McLaren are pretty incensed about it, because it could cost Lando Norris the Drivers' Championship this year. Imagine if it does. Imagine if Ricciardo's parting gift to Max Verstappen is that. And he's even said as much as well. He'd love for that to be the case. But let's have a look. Toto Wolff does not agree with his colleagues at McLaren that Red Bull pushed the limits of sporting ethics in Singapore. Spun as a parting gift to Daniel Ricciardo, Red Bull Racing's sister team RB asked the Australian to pit late in the race in order to charge for the fastest overall race lap. The 35-year-old was not eligible for the bonus point as he was outside the top 10, but the feat did deprive Max Verstappen's championship rival Lando Norris of the bonus point. He's quoted as saying, "It's disappointing from a sporting point of view," according to Zach Brown, of the supposed on-track collusion between the two Red Bull-owned teams. There shouldn't be an A, B and a B team in sporting collusion on the track, he charged. And that's exactly what it was. Hopefully this point won't make a difference in the end. But when asked about Brown's and McLaren team boss Andrea Stella's claim of poor sportsmanship, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff did not agree with the accusations of the similarly Mercedes-powered team. "I think you probably have to use all the strategies you have," Wolff, who was usually a strong ally of McLaren and a fierce critic of Red Bull, answered. "I don't think it was an unsportsmanlike action. Not at all," said the Austrian. "Championships can come down to 1 point, and what they, Red Bull, did was within the rules. The drivers were not unfair to each other on track. Ricciardo simply did the fastest lap. No problem," Wolff said. And there we go, that's a relatively brief one there. I mean, where do I stand this? I've not actually said about this yet. So, I don't believe the cover story that it's a parting gift to Ricciardo to give him the fastest lap in his final race. However, I do feel like it is a nice parting gift to give, if it is one. I don't think that's the main motivation though. Obviously, RB are the sister team to Red Bull. Their initials are literally RB, Red Bull, Racing Bulls, same people. They don't hide it, it's not a secret. They have the same owners. And that's not illegal in Formula 1. That's allowed within the rules. And yeah, I mean, it might be a bit unsporting, but I totally agree with Toto Wolff in a sense, because he's right. It's not an illegal move. Ricciardo didn't do anything wrong. Now what is wrong in my opinion is if Ricciardo, I don't know, I know this would never happen, I'm not saying this would happen, but let's just say it did happen. That Ricciardo was told, "Danny, time to slow down." let Lando catch and then take him out. I know they'd never say that over the radio. I know they'd never do this. This is a completely hypothetical situation. But let's just say that happens. Let's say that, he makes it difficult for him to pass or whatever, and he gets a blue flag penalty, but it doesn't matter because he's down in 15th or whatever anyway. That would be wrong. That would be very wrong. But technically what they did was allowed in the rules. And it is you got to use every rule you can at the end of the day. McLaren have used Lando Norris to hold up Sergio Perez at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Was it unethical? No. Was it allowed within the rules? Yes. Did it help that Oscar Piastri win the race? Yes. You got to use all the tools at your disposal. McLaren will do the exact same thing if the shoe's on the other foot. So I agree with Wolf. What do you guys think? Was it unethical of RB to do that? Do you believe their cover story? Do you think it was right for them to do that? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Goodbyes are rarely easy when it comes to somebody you care about, and I think that really applies to Daniel Ricciardo as well in Formula 1, someone who has been in and out of the sport since 2011, someone who is a really, really popular character, and on top of that as well, back in the day, an incredible driver. Of course, his career has not ended how he thought it was going to do. He genuinely thought he was going to come back into Formula 1 with a chance of getting in a top team and winning a world championship, otherwise he wouldn't have come back. But he did come back, and fair play to him. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in the end, and it looks as though the Singapore Grand Prix in 2024 is going to be the final ever F1 race in his career. I mean, the guy had some very emotional interviews. I've already done some videos as well on Ricciardo going over his legacy in Formula 1, the fact that this is a very emotional kind of time, really. It's sad. I mean, I'm a fan of Ricciardo. He's been my favourite driver on the grid when he's been a Formula 1 driver, without a doubt. Ever since he kind of really burst onto the scene in 2014 when in that Red Bull. Like I said, it's not been the best ending to his career. I think he has hurt his legacy a little bit with that. Not for me personally, because I remember how good he was and how long of a career he's had as well. That shouldn't be underestimated. But yeah, let's have a look what people have been saying, because there's been some really touching tributes to the Australian driver in the kind of world of Formula 1 recently. So, although Daniel Ricciardo's strategic fastest lap enraged his former team McLaren on Sunday, Zak Brown admitted he feels sorry for the Australian driver. The RB driver was close to tears after qualifying in Singapore, with real tears filling his eyes as it dawned on him that he'd probably climbed out of a cockpit after a Grand Prix for the last time in his life. There's a lot of emotions because I'm aware that this could be it, said the 35-year-old. Even McLaren CEO Zak Brown, who also ousted Ricciardo in 2022 with a year to run on his contract, admitted the rumours of his former driver's demise was sad. I mean, let's get it straight, he wasn't performing for McLaren. He rightfully got ousted. Simple as that. It's harsh, but it's fair. Just like this, unfortunately, it is harsh, but it's been coming. I hope it's not his last race, Brown told Sky Deutschland. He's been a great person and gave me my first victory in Formula 1. Yes, of course, Italy 2021. The entire paddock understood that Ricciardo's fastest lap with fresh tyres right at the end of the race was strategic to help parent team Red Bull limit the points damage to Lando Norris. RB boss Lauren Makeys said the team just wanted to give Ricciardo a fitting send-off at the top of the timesheet. Given this may have been Daniel's last race, we wanted to give him the chance to savour it and go out with the fastest lap, he said in the official post-race press release. Ricciardo, however, admitted, if Max wins the World Championship by 1 point, I'm sure I'll get a nice Christmas present from him. And on top of that as well, someone worked out that if Lando Norris and Max Verstappen now finish 1-2 in every single race for the rest of the season, with Norris getting the fastest lap, that will no longer be enough for Norris to win the championship. That 1 point has made a difference, potentially. Given this may have been... Oh, sorry, I've already read that bit. Verstappen, who maintains a close and friendly relationship with the 8-time Grand Prix winner, said, "I have to thank Daniel for that. He's a great person, and when I retired in a few years, we will look back on our time in Formula 1 with a beer." Retired from Formula 1 in a few years? Has he actually said that? I mean, he is in a bit of a feud with the FIA at the moment. I've already done a video on that, of course. He'll be remembered as a great driver. Still, the news of Ricciardo's departure is not yet official. There's a chance you won't see me in Austin, he admitted. Austin is my second home, so we'll see. I know that an official decision is coming. Yes, the Lawson announcement is set to happen in September, according to Dr. Helmut Marko, what he said a few months ago. Ralf Schumacher said prior to the race weekend in Singapore that he knew it would be Ricciardo's last race. "We will announce the decision after Singapore," Dr. Helmut Marko said. Ralf Schumacher also declared himself to be our press spokesman, but I can't officially answer that at the moment. Again, the decision is after Singapore. And I remember as well that he said, I'm not going to say who for legal reasons, but I did see that someone messed up a video online. A large Formula One media company messed up, and it wasn't F1 themselves, it was someone else messed up. The cat is out of the bag, basically. If you saw that when it happened, you will know that this is pretty much confirmed. But I'm not going to say who, I don't want to get sued. But yeah, I did notice that. Very briefly, if you were very quick on YouTube, you might have seen it. Liam Lawson, meanwhile, can probably already prepare for his return to racing action at the USGP. We've given so many young drivers great opportunities over the years, Christian Horner said. We want to take the time to consider what our options are for the future. And that's part of it as well. It is because it's a future thing. Lawson is the future of that team. Ricciardo's not going to get any better. And also at the same time, Lawson probably has something in his contract as well that says he has to have X amount of races in a season. I think there's 6 races left, something like that. So yeah, that's part of it. So yeah, Ricciardo out the door, unfortunately. Very sad. I've already given my thoughts about his legacy and how this is a tough but fair decision, unfortunately, in Formula 1. I say fair. Nothing's fair in Formula 1, but by F1 standards, it's been coming, unfortunately. But yeah, I wish him all the best in the future. I hope he finds either a new drive if he wants to go and race in another motorsport series, or just wants to chill out in LA and just relax. I imagine after all this, he's just going to take a sabbatical and just, weigh up his options, see what he can do. Go to IndyCar, go to NASCAR, go to V8 Supercars in Australia. Imagine that. That'd be fun. But yeah, we'll see you very soon for some more Formula 1 content here on the F1Chronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell as well to see much more F1 content right here.